Visit Sailrite.com for all your project supplies, tools, and instructions. In this video, we're going to show you how to transform your headboard with a vinyl fabric from Sailrite.
This video is part of our Airstream Argosy renovation. We'll be renovating an Airstream from top to bottom, inside and out. Join us for this exciting video series.
In this first chapter, we're going to measure for the fabric required.
This is the headboard for the RV, and we're going to cover it in a vinyl seating fabric called EverSoft that's available from Sailrite. What we're going to do is we're going to measure the size to determine how much we need, and what I get for the length is 57.5, and then if I measure the fabric that comes up and around and stapled to the back side, this is 3 inches, but I need about 6 inches. So 6 plus 6 plus 57.5 is about 69 inches of fabric. We're going to have quite a bit of waste here on the sides, but we can possibly use that for other projects. The width of our fabric, this is only 17 inches, and we have plenty of fabric because our width is 54 inches. So we just need a running piece that's around 69 inches or more.
In this chapter, we'll be removing the old fabric and foam.
Now, I don't like to leave the old fabric in place, mainly because it's old and it might be moldy or stinky or anything like that. Some people do cover it up, but I like to remove it. So I'm going to remove all of these staples, and then we can actually use the old fabric kind of as a pattern for our new fabric. At the top of the headboard, they had used a button, believe it or not. So this is the screw. And if you remove the screw, you can see that it used to be a button with 2 holes, and they just drilled it out. Actually pretty ingenious in my opinion. But we're going to use the screw covers that are available from Sailrite that will match the navy. They'll be black. But if you don't have anything, you could use a button. Okay, we've got the fabric off. So now our board with the foam can be looked at to see if it's any good. The issue I have with the foam is if I press on it, it actually cracks. It doesn't do it as much over here, but over here I can feel it cracking. In fact, you can see the surface cracking. I think I'm going to replace it. I just don't want to go to all the energy of covering it with something that's not going to hold up well. It probably could be reused again because you're never going to see that, but I don't like it. Usually this foam is glued in place. They just staple it around the perimeter, so it's easy to remove. I think we're going to glue it rather than staple it, though it could be stapled as well. Okay, we've taken the staples off, and then when we turn this around, we're like, oh, there's 2 layers of foam. Not a bad idea. And this one seems pretty good, so I'm going to leave that in place and glue our new foam to it. So they made this a little bit extra padding for where your head is.
Next up, adding the new foam.
This is our 1/2-inch sew foam. It's foam on one side and fabric on the other, mainly so it can be sewn through, and it can also be stapled through that way too. I like to put the fabric side up against my structure, so you notice the fabric side is facing up. My piece will go down here, and I just need to have enough foam to wrap around to the back side, and I want to make sure that I have plenty, and to come around the sides and the top, which I do have enough. I'm going to cut it to the general size, oversize, and then we'll start gluing. I'm going to be using this headliner adhesive. The reason I like to use it is it cures very quickly and sticks very well. So we've shaken it up already, and I want to apply it on both surfaces. We're going to come around here and wrap around the side, and you do have some good working time. So I'm just going to put a coat right down here and over here, and then obviously over here. We'll put it on the edge as well. Then we're going to put it on our foam. so it'll stick. And if you're working on a tabletop that you're concerned about getting glue on, put some paper down. We're going to clean it up if we get any overspray with 3M specialty adhesive remover. Now I do need to get it on the front side as well, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Set it down so I don't get any glue anywhere else. And then we're going to put some spray glue here. I've turned this over so we can get a little spray glue on this side as well. It won't take a lot. We've let it tack up a little bit. Now I'm going to position it basically where I had it, and then press down fairly firmly. And then we'll start wrapping it around the perimeter. I like to start kind of in the middle, and then come down here, make sure it's tight. And then the sides, come around in the middle and over here. And then we're going to cut away some of this excess with a pair of scissors. We're going to keep wrapping it around here first, making sure that everything stays in place. See, that stuff sticks really well. That's why I like that glue. So I've got extra here. Just cut it away with some scissors that aren't your favorite, because you don't want to get glue on your scissors, though it can be cleaned off. And then just form a nice looking corner. If you need to cut away more, go ahead and do so. This is the back side. Nobody's really going to see that. That looks pretty good already. This is the back side. We're just going to trim some of that excess away, and she's wrapped and in good shape for the most part. A little bit off here. There we go. And this is what the front side looks like. We're ready.
In this chapter, we'll be cutting and stapling our new fabric onto the headboard.
We're using a seating vinyl, and this is called EverSoft. And if you notice the front surface, it has a really beautiful pattern to it. And the back side has this kind of like a polyester batting that's very soft. So it's good for gluing applications, though that's not what we're going to be doing. We're going to be stapling it. So I highly recommend EverSoft vinyl. It is a 4-way stretch vinyl, so it'll stretch along the bias, obviously, and along the length, and along the width. We're going to position our headboard on so we have plenty of material to come back here and staple it. I don't want to staple it here. I actually want to staple kind of in this opening here. So this will give me plenty of fabric there. And then I have plenty over here and plenty over here. So this is the perfect spot for it. Just like that. We're going to cut it to size, as this we can use for another project. So I'm just going to cut enough that we can wrap around the bottom edge of this. We'll start here at the middle position. Make sure it's wrapped fairly taut here. The long nose staple gun allows me to get in at an angle like this. I'm going to put in 3 staples, and then I'm going to come down here. I'm going to make sure that it's pulled taut here. I'm going to hold it with my hand. 3, and then we want to inspect to make sure that we don't have wrinkles or anything like that. If they do, spread them out like this, and then we'll come over here to the sides and make sure that, again, before we staple this down, that we work any excess fabric over to the ends, because it's a fairly long piece. And then I'll hold it taut and turn it around, and then I can pull fairly tight here. So I'm going to grab it like this, and I'm going to pull. That makes sure that I don't have any serious wrinkles in there. And then before I staple, I'm going to take a look. Yeah, that looks good. So with that pulled tight, I'm going to put a couple staples in here. Three. Nice. And then we'll work down on this end. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to do the same thing. Pull my fabric down to this side. Pull it fairly taut, turn it over. Now when you have a drum like this, you can punch a staple through pretty easily, so it's a good idea to lower the fabric down to the hard surface, and that way you don't just punch the staple through the vinyl. With the Sailrite upholstery staple gun, these guns are designed not to go through the vinyl fabric, so they work really well. Nice. Okay, so we have all four sides basically in place. Now I'm going to work on securing this top edge first. So again, I'm going to pull down and tuck the fabric into that thing. And this time I'm going to put a few staples a little bit further apart just to make sure I'm happy with it, because I can always pull a staple if I need to. So notice I'm putting them about 5 or 6 inches apart. And then we take a look. Yeah, that looks good. We're going to go this direction, doing that same thing. So we have this secured. We still need to put more staples in it, but we have it secured all along the top edge. Now we're going to switch our attention to the bottom edge, doing the same thing. Not putting in a lot of staples right now, just making sure that it's in the right position. Then we'll take a look and see what we have. So if you like, what you can do is you can take a piece of chalk, mark on vinyl pretty easily with it, and you can kind of say, okay, there's a 1/4 inch past that corner here. So come up there like that, and what we'll do is we'll trim not all the way to the top edge here, because we don't want to, and I'd rather have more than less, so I'm actually going to cut more, so that, because I can always make modifications. I can't make modifications once I'm done with my cut. I can cut away more, I can't add more. So there we go, we're starting to come up into there, and then this is going to fold back. So we have way too much fabric there, but see how that hides that? And this tucks up into there. You could probably get a little bit closer here. I'm probably going to come down a little bit at an angle here. Okay, good. Now we're going to fold that back so we can cut away this, because let's pretend that's our fold. We'll cut away more if we need to. Take that out of the way. We have tons of fabric still. We can cut some of this away. So we still have a good amount of fabric. This is going to be folded back more, because I got to get that more on that corner. So which means I can cut away a little bit more of this. But as you can see, what you want to do is you just want to do this gradually and start working your piece around that corner. Now we have to also make sure that this has no wrinkles here. But first I'm going to take away some of this stuff here, because this fabric just needs to come over to this point. So we're just going to take this away. That still leaves us a good amount of fabric there. Let's go ahead and tack this in place here. So it's nice and tight here, looks good. So I'm going to put a staple here. That keeps that there. This can come out a little bit. Don't need that fabric. It's okay if it stays there too. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, in a way, kind of tack this down so that it stays folded in there and work out any wrinkles. So I'm going to pull a little bit there. This is going to be hidden, so I can put a staple here. This is the back side. There's a little wrinkle there, but that's not going to matter. That staple didn't even bite into the wood because there's so much foam there, so I'm going to push down hard. That one did. Now let's work this out. And let's put a staple here. We could always pull the staple out if we have to. I'm going to put it right about here. And then we're going to fold this back, tuck it under. We still have too much fabric, as you can see. Cut some of that away, tuck it back, fold it under. This is a 4-way stretch fabric. I still have plenty of fabric here, and I might want to, let's see what that looks like. Oh, that's going to look good. If I can get rid of this wrinkle here. So that's my goal, is to get rid of that wrinkle. And I can do that mainly by tucking the fabric back. But I think if I cut a little bit deeper here, just not all the way to the corner, and then I take away some of this fabric here, again, we can tuck it better. Like that. Now we can fold it under. And in fact, what we could do is we could put a staple here to keep this. And then fold that. See, the more we fold, the more the wrinkles come out. Like that. Now that looks stinking good. Okay. So now I'll put a staple here, and there we have a beautiful corner. Now if you need to make adjustments, you can always stick a regulator in here and kind of push your fold where it needs to go, but in this situation I think everything looks great. We only have a few tacking staples in here, but we'll put more in later. We're going to move on to this corner. Again, we have plenty of fabric, so I'm going to take out some of this. That makes it easier. This corner is a little bit different. It's probably going to have a bigger pleat. But here's where I come in contact with the fabric, so I'm going to come down, straight down to that point, a 1/4 inch larger than that edge. So we have plenty of fabric here, and I'm going to reduce some of this. It's just way too much. There we go. Now this could be tacked down, and then this could be folded back, kind of like what we did before. Yep. So I'm going to come down a little bit more. Remember, we can make modifications like this, and this will fold back like that, and this will be under here, so this will be hidden by that fold. But first, let's get it tacked into position. So I'm going to pull this taut to make sure that I have all the fabric basically tight there. Put one staple there, and then we can pull this around because this is going to tuck under here, and this staple will not be seen. So I'm going to put a staple here. That. Now we have extra fabric here that is definitely not going to be seen. I'm not going to cut into my good fabric, which is this one that's going to come over the top. And we still have plenty of fabric here, so I'm going to take some of this out. And then we're going to fold this back. We have plenty of fabric here. Enough. There's our fold, like that. So we can cut up to that fold to take out the excess. Now we want to make sure that we get the wrinkles out, and the wrinkles can come out by folding this more or cutting even deeper down. And then we fold more, and that helps to pull the fabric, these wrinkles up here, and get them out of the way. There, that looks pretty good. I like it. So I'm going to put a staple here. And see, this is the bottom edge here. So technically what you're seeing is you're hardly seeing anything because it wraps around like that. I like it. Now we'll tack it a little bit more securely after we get the other sides. Now there's a little bubble here. Again, it's the bottom edge, but that can easily be taken out. Watch this. Take the nose of your staple gun to get this bubble out. Put it on your vinyl. Again, we're working with the backside, so nobody's going to see this. And work out that wrinkle. Put a staple there. There we go. So the only thing to do now is to basically apply a few more staples, pulling, whoops, taut as you go. I didn't push down all the way on the nose of the staple gun. We'll do this all around the perimeter, and then make sure for the corners, especially where there's a lot of bulk, that you push down really hard with the nose of the gun to get staples in there. Because you want to make sure that nothing comes loose. The Sailrite upholstery staple gun is designed for upholstery, so if you notice here, we're not having to worry about the staple blowing through our vinyl. A lot of staple guns will blow right through vinyl. The Sailrite upholstery staple gun will not. Now we just trim the excess away around the perimeter and we are done.
Next up, installing the headboard in the RV.
So this is our headboard that we fashioned, and you can see there's just a piece of wood here that it screws into. Looks like they use 3 screws, so that's probably what I'll do. And all it does is fit up here. Now it'll be fairly tight because we have extra foam up here, so I'm going to have to force it kind of on this board. There we go. Push it back as far as it'll go, and I'll push that side too. So these are the premium screw covers, and what you have is you have a base like this, and I'm going to use the screw cover for a number 8, number 10 screw. This is a number 8 screw. So this goes through the bottom, and this must be screwed down securely so that this doesn't move. If this moves, then the cap won't snap on. So let's screw it in. So I'm just going to screw right through my vinyl and my foam, and then, well, I'm going to screw through my vinyl and the foam and then into the board, and I'm pushing the headboard up against the wall. So see how it's moving around? We don't want that. Now it's nice and firm. So then I'll take my cap and position it over the top of this, and then I just give it a little tap with a hammer, and that thing is on there well.
Our headboard is now installed in the RV and ready for use. Next up, a list of the materials and tools we used to complete this headboard project. If you have any questions, give us a call or email. We're glad to help. From all of us here at Sailrite, I'm Seth Grant. Thanks for watching.
If you enjoyed this video, click the link in the description below or at the icon at the top right to check out other projects in the Airstream RV Renovation Series.